This week on Tech Trends, we focus on education. I talked to Dami Oguntunde, a co-founder of Harde Business School, on how the startup is offering online professional development courses through gamified immersive learning experiences. And then we show you how e-learning platform Niger Kids is making learning fun and engaging for children through a gamified approach. We'll give you more in just a moment, but as always, this is the show that takes you on a ride in 25 minutes to seek out innovation and creativity that are unique to Africa. I'm Olayemi Odunuga. Welcome to the program.
If you talk about STEM education, the best way to introduce anyone to STEM or get their curiosity going on is through Minecraft.
Harde Business School is a startup aiming to change the way higher education works across Africa and other growing markets. They're making learning more valuable, accessible, and flexible by offering professional development courses online, which are not only interactive but also engaging, using fun game-like experiences to help students connect with the materials. Harde Business School is also one of the 12 startups selected for the second cohort of the Mastercard Foundation EdTech Fellowship, and one of the co-founders, Dami Oguntunde, will be telling us more about the startup. Tell me, Dami, what is Harde Business School all about? I mean, what inspired its creation? What's your mission? Tell me all about it.
Awesome. So Harde Business School is a digital vehicle for educational transformation in Africa and other emerging markets. So what we offer are professional development courses for corporate executives and entry-level professionals. So you can like to consider us a perfect segue between the traditional university system and the labor market. So we offer courses that are considered to be micro courses in some of the most critical aspects of professional development, like leadership, soft skills like emotional intelligence, personal effectiveness, effective communication, other proficiency courses like digital marketing, product management, copywriting, UI, UX, and many more are found on the platform. Also, we created some of the most unique courses in collaboration with some of the top experts in niche areas. We call them expert-led courses. And so we have niche courses with the likes of Maya Tafo on fashion, the likes of Abubakar Suleiman, CEO of Sterling Bank, on disruptive leadership, the likes of Ifedro Simiati of Herconomy on community building, and several other niche topics as well for those who may not be interested in the traditional courses or routes in that sense. And so what we try to do is to make learning as fun and as gamified and as interactive as possible. So when you get on our platform, hardeverse.org, you're not likely going to feel like you're learning like the typical traditional way of either videos or text like you typically find on most MOOCs. On our platform, we have a lot of gamification, interactivities, drag and drops, quizzes, and it just makes it all come alive. And because of that, we have a higher completion rate than the average MOOCs out there. The average completion rate on an online platform is about 11 to 12%. Here on Hardeverse, we have over 20% completion rate, and it's partly due to the level of engagement and dynamic, intuitive interactivities that happen on the platform.
Okay, fantastic. Well, one thing I picked up from what you've mentioned, is your emphasis on gamification. Why that, approach to learning?
Well, because we observed the trends and we realized that there is a need to interact more with the learners, especially when it comes to MOOCs. This is not the first time the idea about MOOCs are becoming popular, with the likes of Coursera, Udemy, and other, stalwart, edtech organizations across the globe. However, we also saw the trends that, just like I mentioned earlier, the completion rates are reducing constantly. You see a lot of people, enroll online for courses, and 2 months down the line, they've not finished, and they paid for those courses. And so we realized that beyond just paying for a course, there's a need for an extra incentive to finish courses and to actually get the real value for what you paid for. And so we went into learning science, and because learning science is that field of education that governs the study of how people learn and how we can improve the quality of the learning outcomes that we generate, having gone through a period of learning. And so we infuse some of these learning science techniques into our presentation and into the adaptation of the learning pedagogies to ensure that learners get the very best kind of engagement, because the engagement would improve the completion. When people are interacting with a material and it's all video or all text, at some point they can get bored, they can get lost, and at some point they will just not feel the incentive to continue to learn. But by the time you're interacting with the material, you're dragging, you're dropping, you're clicking, you're matching, you're filling the gap, and you're answering questions. And even when you answer questions and some of the responses are wrong, there is a bit of additional information and feedback at the bottom of the screen that gives you extra perspective on the right answer and why the wrong answer you chose was wrong. So at every single aspect and touch point within the learning journey, learners are actively learning, engaging with the material, and that significantly improves their completion rates, which gives them the real value for their, assessments and all of that. So it's because of our desire to really increase and improve learning outcomes that we had to infuse learning science and gamification into our pedagogy.
I like the fact that you try to compare Harde Business School, with some other online learning platforms, because I was really going to ask you what makes you stand out from others that we've seen. But, let's bring it home now. We have a lot of educational challenges in Nigeria. We could talk about poor funding. We could talk about the lack of adequate, teachers. We could also talk about infrastructure. So as a learning platform, an online learning platform, what strategies or what do you have, what products do you have, to kind of address some of these issues?
Great question. So the first thing about Nigeria as a whole is we have a very young demography. The average age of Nigeria is 16.6. That means the bulk of the Nigerian demography are young people. And a lot of these young people don't have access to qualitative tertiary education. And that's clearly because of the numbers. The traditional system, the traditional institutions, universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education all combined are doing their best, but there is still a significant deficit. And that means we need to start finding ways to educate our young population and young demography, leveraging technology, because we also have a very high internet penetration rate in Nigeria and other African countries. And so Harde, the thinking is, how do we leverage technology to ensure that we can make education more accessible and portable and flexible? Because with Harde, you can learn while still earning. That is, whilst you are learning on the platform, you can actually engage in an economically viable endeavor during the day. So it's a flexible pathway to learning and still earning, because the typical system where you have to travel to a place and be camped for a while, there is a place for that, because we really can't take out the role that interactions with other students play. But because of the significant demand in terms of educating our young demography, there is a lot of needs to be more creative and innovative in presenting the solution to that demography. And that means we need to leverage technology and leverage the flexibility that online learning would afford this demography. So apart from the flexibility that we offer, we also offer a lot of contextual application to learning and knowledge areas. So for example, because of the kind of thinking that we infuse into our learning platform, when you're learning on the platform, you are able to see a lot of African examples. You're also able to see some real life scenarios that you can apply to
make it much more relatable.
Come alive, you understand? I'll use this example because it went viral when it happened. The popular actor that went ahead to slap a host, at a particular Oscar award some years ago.
Yeah.
And it made a round. And so we used some of those examples to explain what emotional intelligence is.
Okay.
And those are very powerful qualities that help people thrive in the workplace, because many of the things that we're exposed to in the traditional system are core skills, but the leverage skills, I call them leverage skills like emotional intelligence, critical thinking, problem solving, effective communication, many of these things are not particularly emphasized in the traditional system, but they are leverage skills in the sense that no matter the industry you found yourself, you would always find use and relevance for emotional intelligence, communication, critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and innovation.
Yeah.
These are the most critical and leverage skills that anyone in any industry can find very useful. So we use some of these real life scenarios to further establish our point and consolidate it in the minds of those who are learning, which improves assimilation and improves engagement and ultimately improves completion rates. So, like I said, I could go on and on, but those are
Yes,
some
you
of the critical
can.
aspects and differentiators with Harde Business School.
I like the fact that you spoke about earning, the skills essential in the workplace. So you're not just teaching them, right? You're also preparing them to earn. But, oftentimes we talk about soft skills, some of which you've, mentioned, right? How do the skills influence, job prospects and, long-term career growth?
Powerful. So typically, right, there seems to be, especially in the last 10 years, there seems to be a slight, detour away from an overemphasis on hardcore certificate skills, where people or employers are actively asking, what did you graduate with? How many years of experience do you have? And as great as those things are, because they are focused on the hard skills, whether it's accounting or software development or whatever else you must have studied on campus, we're now beginning to realize that there is a lot of emphasis as well, especially in the last 10 years, on soft skills. When you look at the World Economic Forum, some of the most in-demand skills, especially in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years, as predicted by the World Economic Forum, are skills that are very fundamental to pretty much any industry. And many of these skills are soft skills: analytical thinking, creative thinking, critical thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence. Because these skills, in whatever industry you find yourself, they are the things that make collaboration possible. They make adaptability possible. They make your ability to work with a diverse team possible. Because I've had several experiences, or a few experiences, I should say, of people who are really good at their jobs. I mean, they're very technically savvy, but they are poor with people management. And to the degree that you cannot really manage people or be comfortable collaborating with other people, it is to that degree that your career growth will be stunted. Because as good as you are technically, your career growth is dependent on your ability to lead people. Because at the end of the day, it is going to be a leadership role that you're getting promoted into. But if you cannot lead people, you cannot get more done through the people that report to you. Exactly what will be the justification for promoting you, if you understand what I mean.
And I get you, because sometimes you hear people say, I'm not a people person, I don't
things
understand,
like that.
I'm good at the job, but
Absolutely.
really those things matter.
Very much, very much, very much. And now that, with the emergence of AI, machine learning, some people in some quarters are a bit worried. I mean, will this, innovations, will it take over our jobs and all of that? But what I would like to say is that, beyond being afraid about, AI and machine learning taking over our jobs, really, there shouldn't be a threat in that sense, because technology makes our lives a lot easier. But what we should focus really more on are the soft skills that would always be in demand, no matter the kinds of technological advancement that we experience in the world. Because no matter the world we live in, where there is virtual reality, augmented reality, AI, and all these things, there will still be people in that world.
That's right.
And as long as there are people in that world, we would always need soft skills, leadership skills, collaborative skills, communication, emotional intelligence. These are very, very powerful skills that in any world, all right, no matter the world you find yourself, as technically savvy as more advancement in technology comes to take over some other technical roles that people used to take up, and it makes them quote unquote redundant, nothing can take the place of human communication, human touch,
Very
that
accurate.
emotional side. And that is why we can leverage these skills to be far more adaptable to any kind of industry we find ourselves in the emerging future.
You're actually very correct, because so many tech experts say AI might not take over your job, but someone that knows how to use AI better than you,
Absolutely.
can do that.
Absolutely.
But to make it all round, you also need your soft skills to be that perfect candidate.
Absolutely.
Now, just one more question before we go, and a quick one at that. Harde Business School is one of the 12 startups selected for the second cohort of the MasterCard Foundation EdTech Fellowship.
Absolutely.
Tell me, how has that been so far?
That has been incredible. I must give a lot of kudos to the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with CC Hub. And they've done a very great job at selecting the 12 out of the several people and organizations that applied for the fellowship. And they are supplying a lot of support across 4 critical areas of business growth and development, starting with the product itself. So they're helping us, investigate more into our products. How solid is it? Is it viable? Does it have access to the market? And all those things. So there's product, there's also people. So they check into our people processes. How do we recruit? Do we get the right talents for each job? And then they go into distribution and marketing as well, where they're actively asking how much more platforms can we give you to distribute some of your products? How can we expand the subscription levels, the adoption rates, which is incredible. And then finally, of course, the funding aspect, which is a big deal,
yes,
in terms of how to expand the scale of what we do. So it's an incredible job they're doing, and I must really salute both Mastercard Foundation and CC Hub for the great job they're doing in this particular cohort. This is the second cohort. They did a great job with the cohort 1, and now I'm envious of cohort 3 because I know it's going to be a lot better.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dami Oguntunde. It was an absolute pleasure having you on Tech Trends. Thank you so much for enlightening us about your startup. Dami Oguntunde, co-founder of Harde Business School.
Thank you very much.
Educational learning platform Niger Kids is helping children fall in love with learning using games. By focusing on creating engaging and gamified content for kids, the platform seeks to enhance children's problem-solving skills, critical thinking abilities, and overall knowledge.
This is a revisit to Niger Kids, an e-learning platform that is focused on changing the way children learn by including interactive components in their education. With a mission to make learning an exciting adventure and using games as engagement and motivation and for better learning outcomes, Niger Kids set its sights on addressing some of the biggest obstacles that usually hinder effective learning participation and accessibility. One of the co-founders of the startup, Titi Adewusi, shares some of the strides they've made since Niger Kids' last feature on Tech Trends.
A lot has happened since the last time. So some of the good things that have happened is when we first made, a lot of our products are focused more on children, but we've gone on to start doing more things for corporates. I think the other things that have happened is that we've done a lot more collaborations with other people in the edtech space. And now in our third year, interestingly, of doing 2 key annual events. One of those events is the financial literacy awareness event that takes place, in March. Another is promoting STEM skills among children, which is our STEM Fund Fest. So a lot has happened in that area.
At the heart of Niger Kids is a simple yet profound belief, which is that learning should be fun. By turning subjects like mathematics, science, and even history into engaging games, the startup has succeeded in making learning enjoyable for children.
Is that your final answer?
Each game aims at helping to develop problem-solving skills as well as critical thinking abilities, therefore ensuring that kids do not simply memorize facts, but comprehend and apply ideas. Education is a key driver of economic growth and social development, and one of the pressing issues in Africa is lack of access to quality education. This is a gap Niger Kids is seeking to address.
One of the things you realize, though a lot of people want to do edtech, it's really, can they afford it? One of the good things that happened is our partnership with telecom operators really took off. So that means that people with as little as 20, 15 naira from their airtime can now have access. And that has made a world of difference. That has really made a world of difference. So I think in that model of subscription-based model that looks at the bottom of the pyramid is really what's working. A lot of parents are still battling things about data. So that partnership also with, the telecom operators is really something that has helped change. So we're still finding our way. But I think the good news is that there are so much more opportunities, more with corporates, which is one of the things I said. So a lot more corporates are looking at, edtech, especially for companies that are multi-locational based, so people that are based beyond one location. They need to continue to train their staff. They need to continue to equip people. They need to, even the people they equip, they need to quickly train them. So that has really paid. If you're in that space, especially in the corporate space, then it's, the sun is shining brighter is what I would say.
Even as the startup seeks to break down economic barriers preventing children from accessing what they require for academic success, it also faces challenges of its own. from talent recruitment to boosting productivity and managing the rising cost of operation.
So that war for talent has really been intense, especially because a lot of our tech talents are relocating to what they've termed greener pasture. So that's been challenging. So we've had, he employs someone today, in the next six months they're out of there. So high turnover, which can be frustrating. But I think one of the good things that we've been able to do is plan life with it. I think that's the only thing. Plan life with it. Keep recruiting, making our recruitment process easier, and also the process of onboarding and hitting the ground running easier. I think it's something that every tech founder is battling with, and you just have to learn how to live with it to the best of your ability. I think another thing is also being able to use a lot more tools to make your productivity better, so that there's that human effort, but there's also a lot of tools that help bring about the work faster. So it's just something we have to live with. The rising cost of operations. We've had to really move into remote. So it's not an option. It's something that you do now to also help manage the cost for you as an employer and even for your staff.
The importance of educational tools like those provided by Naija Kids cannot be overstated, especially in regions where educational performance and access remain a challenge, which is why the more attention EdTech gets, the more number of children that can be empowered to reach their full potential.
A whole lot more companies looking into EdTech as the next frontier in the tech space. And of course, one of the major things is we then have, the onset of AI. So AI has really helped in terms of access, in terms of productivity, in terms of a lot of things that you can do now with less people. So it's looking good. It's looking good. I think financially for edtechs that have made progress and have positioned themselves.
Can you select the different groups we can put the animals into?
Naija Kids, on one hand, is breaking free barriers to quality education by providing an affordable and accessible platform aimed at children with limited resources. This is necessary for promoting economic growth and building up worker skills across the continent.
Did you know the Firefox logo does not depict a fox? There is a common misbelief that because the browser is named Firefox, the logo must be a fox. This is both correct and incorrect at the same time. The history of Mozilla's logo began after the fall of Netscape, the predecessor of the Mozilla Firefox company. It depicted a phoenix that rises from the flames. After the company decided to change their name, the designers chose for its symbol one less known animal, the red panda, who is an endangered species in Asia. Yet, in everyone's eyes, the logo represented a fox. The designers explained that it's a result of a mistake in the transition from Chinese to English language. Over time, though, the team behind the browser changed their tune and began to call it a fox after all. The red panda, Ailurus fulgens, is a mammal native to the eastern Himalayas and southwestern China. The English word for red panda is firefox, and that's where the browser gets its name. So, is it a fox or a red panda? You tell me. How much do you really know about the tech world? Put your knowledge to the test with these trivia questions. A coil of wire wound around a soft iron or steel core forms the basis of what? A. Transformer, B. Resistor, C. Capacitor, D. An electromagnet. The answer is D. An electromagnet. In what year was the first airplane invented? 1903, 1899, 1915, 1920. You guessed it, the answer is A, 1903. What name was the microwave originally marketed under in the 1940s? A. Thermowave, B. Heatmaster, C. Rather Range, D. Quick Cooker. I would have gone for Quick Cooker, but the answer is Rather Range, C. What is the name of the robotic vacuum cleaner sold by iRobot? A. Cleanbot, B. Roomba, C. Dust Mop, D. Sweepmate. B is the answer, Roomba. And finally, what inventor first used the term horsepower? A. James Watt, B. Thomas Edison, C. Nikola Tesla, D. George Stephenson. The answer is A. James Watt. Thank you.
And it's a wrap on the show this week. Thank you for watching. Just as always, we will continue to show you how startups, big techs, and of course, inventful thinkers are crafting homegrown solutions using technology in the country. And if you missed any parts of the show, you can always catch up on the Channels TV YouTube accounts where we have all of our episodes. And as usual, I encourage you to watch, share, and like your favorite editions. For Tech Trends, I'm Olayemi Otunuga. See you next time.